Welcome, Pisces, your in-depth weekly astrology overview for week commencing the 6th of July for the ascendant, the sun, or the moon. Going to share the big themes of the week ahead first. On screen is your event chart. I'll unpack that. I'll then go through the influences in detail. At the end of the video, you'll have a clear picture of what this week holds. Thank you so much for joining me, astrologer Patrick Arundel. If you've yet to subscribe to my channel, please do so now to help it to continue to thrive. It's a week when Venus, the relator, moves into one of the best parts of its journey for you. It moves into Virgo, the seventh solar house, on Thursday, and that can create a real potential for harmony, which is intriguing because Saturn, the planet of limitation, is providing a stiff resistance, if you like, to the energy of the sun, which is in a great location for you, suggesting that this is a week not to be too free and easy with resources, and certainly not in terms of being too speculative. But also, it's a week when the energy right at the root of your life is very restless. On the screen now, Pisces, is the event chart as you come into the week. The moon is in your zodiac sign, and so is the North Node. And we've only got another 20 days before the North Node says goodbye to you for another 17 years. So it's a big few weeks for you. But the moon in your sign is asking to stay in touch with what you need. And it's actually forging a lovely link with the path of fortune and the retreating Mercury. And talking of which, if you are encountering a few glitches or changes of plan around social meetups, a date, a creative project, just try to take it in your stride. Mercury retrogrades are frustrating, but I don't think any Mercury retrograde will create something as challenging as Saturn square the Sun. So we've got the planets, the greater malefic, applying to what is at the very heart of our universe. So that's a very oppressive potentially influence, which can lower vitality. And even if you're hanging out with people you like, who are enjoyable to be with, or you've got creative hobbies that mean a lot to you, you might find that you just don't really have much go in you and much enthusiasm to engage. It's entirely understandable. It's almost like driving the car with the handbrake on. However, on Tuesday, we have a quarter moon, which accentuates that second, fifth house again. If there is someone close to you who tends to sort of assume that you'll bail them out financially, the bank of mum and dad, if you like, you might find yourself actually being a lot cooler to their request. Saturn in that second house is seeing you think about conservation, not excessive consumption. Neptune, your modern aquatic ruler, goes retrograde on Tuesday for 5 months. I think if you have seen any difference around your earnings over the last few months, I think Neptune retrograde is asking to get in touch with the deeper, if you like, almost the spiritual context of your value. And even if the physical world isn't quite giving you what you want, think about your value and really engage your imagination, and it can be very valuable. However, that fourth house energy, which I mentioned, which is restlessness central, great for decluttering, great for moving the furniture around, or putting your property on the market quickly without too much thinking. But hold on, are you being a bit rash? Because that's very Uranus Mars energy. And remember, energy's at a premium this week. So just be conscious that if you do feel a bit on edge or a bit up and down, maybe even a bit defensive, just know it is the energy of the planets. However, with Venus moving into that seventh house later in the week, that's really, really lovely. And it also links back beautifully to Chiron and also links back to the position of the North Node. So if you are wanting, that's a big part of what you'd like. You'd like to meet someone who really is very mutual, it's give and take. They don't expect to get everything from you and they're prepared to give. you can meet someone like that in business, a colleague, friendship, or romantically over the next 28 days, treasure that time. Now, I'm going to summarize the four areas of, as usual, of energy, work, relationships, and finances. But just to say, Pisces, reduce the price on my personal horoscope reports, 3 for the price of 1, professional quality, really help you, give you searing insights, but also help you to time your moves and learn a lot more about draconic astrology, which is a different way of looking at the sky and our personalities. Please see below for more. If you've yet to watch your July monthly forecast or your Jupiter into Leo 13-month forecast, please click on the eye on the screen. If you'd like to work with me, please see my testimonials below. If you've yet to sign up for your free daily written horoscope, fly into your device each morning, you can do that below. And a lot of people are taking me up on that, and it's great to see. I know that some people are quite disparaging about daily horoscopes, but if they're written, I feel well and thoughtfully, they really can be very helpful. So, to summarize those four areas of vitality, work, relationships, and finances. So Jupiter, your just traditional ruler, has just moved into your 6th house with physical energy. So that's good, isn't it? It's also in an opposition with Pluto in the 12th house with psychological energy. I think it's important not to get too hooked up on anything. And that's an opposition that can see us do that. So hold that lightly. But I feel that the main thing this week is to focus on what really defines you, and that is often to do with being creative, imaginative. But you can do that in the comfort of your home, but just don't push yourself too hard. And it's a week when you may really not feel as attractive or alluring as you would like to be, but it may all be to do with Saturn influencing your sense of self-worth and value. However, with Venus moving into that 7th house, I can assure you some really lovely connections are entirely possible over the next few weeks. The square that Venus immediately forges with Uranus suggests that that connection could happen very quickly and unexpectedly. But if you're not enjoying being with someone at the moment, I think the best way to improve things is through thoughtful gestures on both sides. Thank you so much for joining me. All the best for a great week, and goodbye.